everyone, welcome back to Beat the Game. This is Steve with another aspect strategy. So for this one, we're going to be talking about justice and one of the new archetypes that is coming out right now with the sinister motives. And again, I feel really bad for everyone who did not get their box. Everyone in Canada that was supposed to get it today on Friday on the May 25th. And then everyone now that has to wait till April 8th. I'm like, I feel really bad. I think even in France, it's in May now. So I really want to say I feel really, really bad, guys. I've been there as well. I remember when, at the beginning of the pandemic, when Black Widow and I think, who came after Black Widow and Thor? No, I think it was Black Widow and Doctor Strange. Yeah, I remember I ordered them from like different countries that they had been released, and I was like, it ended up costing me tons of money for no reason, because by the time they actually got here, they were already released here. So I'm just gonna tell everyone, save your money. Don't try to order it from random places that might still have it. Just save your cash. It's not worth the playing double or triple the price there just to maybe get it a couple days before it actually gets released. All right, that being said, all right, so with the sinister motives, we are introduced to a whole new archetype, and I think I'm just gonna call it justice traits, where we focus on either the Avengers trait or the what's called Guardians trait. But I think after looking at the cards and thinking about this for a couple of seconds, obviously because I improvise everything. No, I'm kidding. But after thinking about this for a while, I was like, I think the archetype should be just called Shield Justice, and then the traits that kind of go with it, we'll talk about those as well, because there's not a lot of cards that synergize super well with traits right now, but Shield just came out, and it's all over the place, and it can really, really affect the game. So before I start, let's take a look at some of the cards from Justice that are specific to Avengers, and then specific to Guardians, and that have kind of a cool impact. Not only Guardians, also specific to Aerial, which is a trait. So we're going to be looking at some of those cards and how they work, and how good they are for this strategy. All right, let's take a look at our first cards. All right, the first card that I'm going to talk about is a Guardian card, and then again I'm going to talk about Shield right after. But the first card I'm going to talk about is a Guardian specific card, which is probably the most broken card in the game. Think fast. A 1-cost, play only if your identity has the Guardian trait. Hero action, take a damage, confuse the villain. This is incredible. Now, with Standard 2, Expert 2, that makes the villain steady. It kind of went down in efficiency. But if you're playing Standard or Expert Normal, this card, if you're playing a Guardian character, should be an auto-include at least 1 or 2 copies in the deck. Not only does it only cost you 1 health, but that 1 health can be just used to confuse the villain. Then you can flip down, you can recover, and then you don't even have to fear that the villain is going to scheme. So it's basically a free recovery. So for the cost of 1, it's just a joke how powerful this card is. So that, for Guardians, is just amazeballs. All right, the other card for Guardians is the CITT. Now, this is not a Justice card, I know, but the CITT, if you've never seen Brant play Rocket Justice, when he's got a plan, and he can do some crazy things with this, and then he can bring his Guardian character with a 4 thwart, 5 thwart, and then activate him a couple times. The CITT in a Justice deck for Guardians is insane value. Even Star-Lord, who can get up to 4, 5 thwart, is just... No, I think he can get up to 4, because the thing gives +1 to thwart to everything, and the heroic intuition. Yeah, so having character be able to thwart for 8 for 2 resources is pretty solid. All right, the other one we're going to talk about, again, heroic intuition. Again, this is going to be good for all of them. Now let's take a look at some of the Avenger cards, which is another great theme. It's running interference. You can only play if you have the Avenger trait. It's on the power level, or I keep talking power levels, on the efficiency of this card, it is a pretty cool card. It is 2 for 4, guaranteed if you are playing on Expert, because you start on stage 2 of the villain. Okay, but again, it's not as good on every scenario. Remember Chang, remember the Wrecking Crew, Hela, Loki, some of those scenarios that only have one stage. This is not good. So it's very variable, but if you go to a stage 3, then it's 2 for 5 threat, which becomes a little bit better. So that's kind of good for that. The other thing, again, combined, if you have a hero like Wasp or Captain America that can bring up their thwart value, or even Iron Man with a heroic intuition, and then you have a combination of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a basic card that can really synergize well with this, and your hero who can activate a couple of extra times, remove tons of threat. This card is very, very good for that strategy. Now, one of the things that's really cool, maybe not for solo, but for multiplayer, for traits, is problem solvers. And again, I wanted to play it last because you need a Guardian and you need an Avenger. But the fact that problem solvers removes threat from everything on the board is crazy. Crazy powerful. Yes, you do have to exhaust 2 characters, but who cares? If you're removing 20, 25 threat off the board for 4 resources that you can play as a team, it's just completely broken. All right, it just makes the game way more easy and manageable. All right, so you can come back from a really dark place. You're like, oh man, we're gonna die to everything, damage, threat. Guys, let's just exhaust 2 characters and then let's clear the board from threat. All right, so again, super solid. Even if it's like 4 threat from everything, 5 threat from everything, it doesn't have to be like 9 from everything. Just the fact that you can remove like 3, 4 threat from a bunch of side schemes. Again, multiplayer games, guys, multiplayer games. All right, and the last one that is the aerial trait is Agile Flight. So this one I like, but I don't like as well. I like the fact that it can only be played if you have the aerial trait, so only a limited amount of characters can do it. I love what the card can do, which is remove a total of 5 threat from among schemes as you choose. Remember, if there is a crisis, you won't be able to remove from the main scheme, even if there is a crisis and you remove the crisis, because it's all happening at the same time. But what I don't like is the cost. If it would have been a cost of 2, I would have been... that would have been a perfect card. I think the cost is just a little too high to make it efficient, but you know, it's a justice card. It's like it can't be as powerful as a hero card. So again, I love it, but in the same time I'm okay. Now, this being said, let's look at a couple of cards, traits that we don't have any expansions for, and hopefully they will be coming soon. It is the Defender trait. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of those Defender cards coming in Justice, because they're pretty cool. But now on to le pièce de résistance. Let's talk about the Shield trait. And that is by far, coming in right off the bat, a super powerful new archetype and a trait. It wasn't a thing at first, but now with the Sinister Motives and the Miles Morales precon, this went from nothing to, oh my god, this is super strong. And let's take a look why. All right, we're going to first talk about the events that are presented now that are going to just change this game for a lot of characters that love Justice. All right, the first one I think is Homeland Intervention. It is a crazy amazing card. It is a 0 cost event, first of all. It is an action, which you mean you can do an alter ego, okay? And it says exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control and then choose a scheme. Remove 2 threat from that scheme for each card exhausted this way. So now you're like, okay, Steve, it's not that good. You need to exhaust like 3 cards to remove threat. If it was 0 for 2 threat with exhausting 1 card, it'd be good. It would still be playable. Exhaust 2 things for 4 threat. It's insane. how much it's valuable because you can do it in Alter Ego. The fact that you can go up to 6 with this card is off the chains. It is definitely off the chains. That means it's not only viable in solo, but also in 2-player games. At 3 and 4 players, it might be kind of weird, but with the new side schemes, the way they're coming out, with a fixed amount of threat, no hinder, no nothing, no per player, these cards are going to become off the chains powerful. So Homeland Intervention, again, you need a little bit of a setup for this, but once that card is out, you can use it at the beginning for resource, and then you can just use it to stay in Alter Ego a couple of extra turns and not worry, which is very, very amazing. So that is one of the events here. The second one, again, it's so good. It's the other event that was introduced in this deck, is Global Logistics. Bonkers good. Bonkers. The power of information, which is super thematic to Shield, is this. We have Shield Tactic, exhaust a Shield card you control, look at the top 4 cards of a player's deck or an encounter deck. So you can do it for yours, which don't bother, but do it for the encounter deck. Know what's coming. Know if you can stay flipped down. What do you get to do with those? Discard any number of those and put the others on top or bottom of that deck in any player order. So let's say there's cards you're like, oh man, I can deal with that later. That's not that bad. That's not that bad. So you don't actually need to discard all 4 cards. But if you're getting like, oh, I know I'm going to get Shadows of the Past. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get Under Fire. I'm going to get Exhaustion. I'm going to get Master Plan. Oh my God, that's going to wreck me. Then just toss him in the garbage. Or toss him at the bottom of the deck. And you know when the encounter deck gets low, you still have that information that you know those cards are coming, so you can adequately prepare for those cards. So this Global Logistics makes the hood a joke. Like, you will never resolve the foul play again. It's so crazy. Like, you'll never lose at foul play. You'll never lose at some of the other cards. It is so powerful. So you should never sit on this card. This is a 3 of in any Justice deck that is playing this strategy, hands down. Homeland Intervention, I think you could put just 2 in, but Global Logistics is a 3 of 100% of the time. There's no if, it's, and ways about it. Now, so for that strategy, it's just crazy. So now let's take a look at some of the... I got some other cards here that I want to talk about, but I'll talk about them later. All right, let's take some of the support cards that we have. All right, and we have gotten a whole bunch of support. So we have a Field Agent, which is a 1-cost card. Okay, so again, for 1 cost, you can put this guy down. You can look at this. You can use him to remove threat. So there's these guys, even if they're doing nothing, they're still doing something. So Field Agent is a 1-cost support. A persona of shield with 3 backup counters, so it has the keyword uses, which means once it doesn't have any counters, you will discard this card. Hero Interrupt. When a shield ally would take any amount of consequential damage, exhaust Field Agent and remove 1 backup counter from it. Prevent 1 of that damage. Now, this is good for 2 reasons. Well, it's not good if you're planning on staying in Alter Ego the entire game, but if you're going to flip the hero form and then use your shield allies, then this is amazeballs, all right? But even if you're not going to use it to reduce the damage your allies take, you can still use it for Homeland Intervention, for Global Logistics, and maybe other things that we'll see in the near future. So this is a great addition to the shield pool. It's a fantastic card. Under Surveillance. Everyone's like, oh, this card was garbage at the beginning, but now it is a shield card, a 2-cost support with uses. So again, discard if you have no more counters. It comes with 3 Snoop counters. Again, you can play this as an action, so it's an Alter Ego or hero form. You can exhaust it and remove a threat from a scheme, any scheme. So that, again, is super fantabulous. Again, and this is very good if you want to stay in Alter Ego. Then we have a new card called Government Liaison. So this is a 2-cost basic card. Government Liaison is a persona of shield and a hero action. Exhaust Government Liaison. Play a shield card from your hand, reducing its resource cost by 1. So if you're in hero form, this is basically team building exercise for shield cards. So what are shield cards? Hey, Nick Fury's a shield card. There's so many other cards that are shield that you can find. And again, it has multiple purposes. Even if you're an alter ego, you can still exhaust this for global logistics, exhaust this for Homeland Intervention. So it has multiple uses, which I think, again, super thematic to shield. You know, shield are always running around doing multiple things. Well, this is very thematic. Love this. Again, we have our classic Helicarrier, which is a shield card. It is a resource, and it can also generate. It can reduce the cost of cards you're going to be playing. So that's pretty fun. You can reduce the cost, then reduce the cost, and then play this. So it really, really tempos your hand into really efficient turns. And then I think my new favorite card for Justice, well, not for Justice, in Basics with the shield archetype is the Sky Destroyer. It is a 3-cost support, so it's a little pricey. It's up there, but it is a shield vehicle with a response after you play a shield card, not a shield, after you play a card. So if you play a card, it doesn't have to come into the battlefield. So it doesn't have to be a support card. It could be your global logistics. It could be an event. It's a shield card. This will trigger, and you will be able to exhaust it to deal 2 damage to any enemy. So it bypasses guards. It bypasses anything. So it's pretty solid. So for this is pretty bonkers. All right. Now let's take a look at some of the shield personnel. We do have some upgrades that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about them yet because they don't have the shield trait. I'm going to talk about them after because they will complement what we are actually trying to do. So let's take a look at some of the shield people that we know about. So obviously we know Quake. So again, if you're taking into an alter ego strategy, between Quake and the Sky Destroyer, you can deal 4 damage in alter ego. That's pretty solid. Coulson, we know he can remove some threat. He can go get a preparation, and we know some of those preparations that are really good for threat mitigation, which is very solid. Why is my camera getting blurry? All right, I think we're good. All right, the next one that we know about is War Machine. Did you forget about him? Yes, he is an Avenger, and he has the shield trait. All right, so he's another guy that we can get, but you probably remember this clown, Nick Fury. So what's cool about this is basically Government Liaison can help you reduce the cost of Nick Fury, can reduce the cost of all of these allies, which are super solid. Now, for the fun part, let's take a look at the new people that are presented. All right, so the first one is Monica Chang. She is so solid. So Monica Chang, it's a 3-cost ally, and it has a response. It says, after she enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a copy of the surveillance team support. Put it into play. So technically, she's basically free. Because if you're thinking you're spending 3 resources for a surveillance team, well, 2 resources plus the card. So basically, she kind of pays for herself. So it's basically a 2-for-1, and it's very efficient. So again, and she puts a snoop counter on each surveillance team you control. So basically, she can help you if you have 3 surveillance teams into play. She adds basically 3 thwarting. It's so good. It's so good. And then when you can recur her multiple times, it just makes those snoop counters never go away. And again, if there's only 1 on the surveillance team, you can discard it knowing that you have it. You play Monica, bring that snoop counter right back with 4 counters on it. It's super solid. Now, the other Justice one that we just got introduced is Spider-Woman. Now, Spider-Woman's not my favorite ally, but she is pretty cool because she's a shield and a web warrior. So she has a 1 thwart, 2 attack with 2 consequence damage. But she reduces the cost to play Spider-Woman by 1 for each confused enemy. So if you have a hero that has access to confusion, it could be really cool. And just the fact that you can reduce the cost, or just even if the villain is not confused or there's no confused enemies, you can still use her just as a blocker, as an attacker. She can deal 2 damage. But for me, she is the least efficient shield card in the whole card pool. So she's cool, but she's not an auto-include. Everything else is pretty much an auto-include for me. Agent 13. So we're going back to the basic cards here. So Agent 13 is a 4-cost ally with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and they both have a star. That means every time she activates, something's going to happen. She is a shield and a spy. So if you're looking to play Spycraft, which is a great card again for Justice, she is allowing you to play that. So response after she attacks or thwarts, choose a shield support. So this could be your shield support. So Sky Destroyer, Helicarrier, Government Liaison, Surveillance Team, Field Agent, and you ready that support. Now the best combo is this here. So you play a shield card, deal 2 damage. Use her to thwart or attack or remove a tough or something like that. Bang, ready this. Play another shield card for free or like with a field agent or something like that. And boom, now you're doing 4 damage a turn. And then if you keep her alive with like first aids and stuff, you can just keep doing that and doing multiple activations. So a lot of free damage, which is super solid. And then I think this is the best ally in the game right now. It is by far. He's one of the most expensive. But once he hits that field, this guy is off the chain solid. We got Dum-Dum Dugan. I'm just going to put him front and center here. Because Dum-Dum Dugan here is a 5-cost ally. So most people are like, oh my god, are you kidding me? 5 cost? I'm never going to play this. I can't play this ever. Alright, so 5-cost ally. But what does he do? He has 3 thwart with 3 consequence, which is kind of a lot. He has 3 attack with 2 consequence. He's a shield guy with 5 health. But he has an interrupt. Ooh, why does he interrupt? When you use one of Dum-Dum's basic powers, thwart or attack, you can exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control. And for each card exhausted this way, Dum-Dum gets +1 to that power for this use. Yeah, so for this one use. So this is insane. So he can thwart for 6 or he can attack for 6 by exhausting. Yes, I understand. He needs a little bit of a build-up. But if you combo this Dum-Dum Dugan with Field Agents and then Path, so he can attack, only take 1. So if you're thinking about it, 6 times 5 is 30 damage. If you just have 1 Field Agent to reduce his consequence damage. That's 30 damage. That is most villains in a standard are going to die. He has enough to kill stage 1 and stage 2 just by taking 1 consequence damage. Oops, sorry. Aside from that, if you have ways to heal him, he can just stay on the battlefield the entire game and just win you a game while you sip pina coladas chilling. As long as you have some shield cards to exhaust and pump him up, it's just broken. So think about this. Like, look at the combos you can do between Quake killing minions, with Sky Destroyer dealing damage, with readying this to play more cards, exhausting supports to do stuff. There is so much synergy within the aspect that it is off the chains powerful. I showcased the deck. I called it Dum-Dum Gets It Done. It's in the Miles Morales video, and you can see how I'm using this strategy and how I explain what to use. All right, and then I have a deck built around that. All right, now let's take a look at some of the cards that will help us within this aspect as well. All right, so there's extra cards that we can definitely put in that make everything work like flow like water. There you go. I said it. All right, some of the cards that really complement this strategy. I think the first one I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot of great basic cards here. Power in All of Us is definitely something you'll want to be playing within this strategy. Just because, again, there's a lot of high-cost cards, Dum-Dum Dugan and stuff like that. The other event that you definitely want to be running is a couple of meditations. Meditations will help you bring these cards out very, very fast at the only cost of exhausting your hero, which is nothing to get that reduction of 3. All right, as for the other events that really complement this strategy, Foiled, especially if you're going to be staying in Alter Ego a lot, Foil will just make sure that there is no threat that goes on the villain. It's very good. You only use this if he's got a boost of like a 2 or a 3 or a 4 now. But yeah, if he's only scheming for like 2 plus 1, like who cares? Who cares? Because you have all the justice cards that can just deal with it. Yeah, but if he gets a boost of 3, that can be a little scary. So yeah, so foiled is always there for that. Here's some of the upgrades. Like there's a bunch of upgrades that we didn't talk about. And again, these upgrades are really, really efficient for this strategy. And I forgot one. I'm just going to go pick it up. All right. The first one, where are you? There you are. All right. The first one, again, in this strategy, if it goes really well with global logistics, it is Spycraft. All right, there you go. Come here, Spycraft. So Spycraft is one of those upgrades, like you can only play if you have a spy character. So Agent 13, Coulson, is Monica Chang a spy? No. Nick Fury, Coulson, Nick Fury, if you're playing Spider-Woman or Black Widow, yeah, those guys can get it done. Is she a spy here? No, she's a shield and web warrior. All right, so there you go. Ah, you stupid autofocus. Stop autofocusing. All right. So yeah, that is a very good card. Another card that we can definitely use is Followed. I don't think you should run 3 of these in your deck, but just one Followed in your deck can help you. You take out a side scheme with Homeland Intervention, and then bam, you're removing threat and you're dealing damage, all by staying in Alter Ego. Again, this is very, very friendly for people that want to stay flipped or just beat down. Let's just stay in Alter Ego for 2-3 turns and see how quickly we can set up our board while we're just like, yeah, threat is not an issue, not an issue. All right, to make sure that things go well, an Under Surveillance is just going to be icing on top of the cake, putting that down on the main scheme, giving you in solo play that extra 4 breathing room. With this type of strategy is just going to be too solid. Counterintelligence, again, Coulson goes and fetches that thing, or he fetches the Spycraft. But Counterintelligence, another great card. Again, if you don't have the foiled, you have one Counterintelligence when you absolutely need it. Don't use it unless you need it. These are cards that you don't use unless you absolutely need to. And once it's on the table, it's on the table, and it's good. It's there. It's fine. It's a security blanket. And just keep using it. And then finally, Sense of Justice. This is a resource card, which is great because you can use it in Alter Ego. So it's not good with a lot of characters, but it is good with if somebody is asking you for a resource to play for problem solvers. Well, there you go. You can use that in Alter Ego. Or if you're playing Black Widow, she can do her covert ops using Sense of Justice. And again, because it says it's just a resource, as long as it's giving you for a thwart event, it's good. There is not a lot of thwart events, all right, in Alter Ego, all right? So there's not a lot of those, so that's why maybe it should be a hero resource. But I don't even think the aggression one has the hero resource. I'd have to look back and see. But again, most of the attack cards are in hero form, so it's very rare that you can attack in Alter Ego. All right, so there you go. So this is the strategy. This is the cards you want to be including. I'm not doing a top heroes that want to use this, but if you insist, some of the best heroes for this will be Black Widow, obviously. Captain Marvel is going to be broken with this because, again, there's just a few, even Captain America, like Miles Morales, any hero is going to make this strategy super efficient. Why? Because it allows you a ton of control. Now, so even Hulk, stay in Alter Ego, build everything, use the cards as resources, and then just Banner just chills in his room, just being like, yeah, what's up, boys? Maybe not. But I think it's a very, very sexy strategy. Shield Justice, or Justice traits there, but I think Shield Justice is what this strategy is all about. Again, you saw the other things with the other traits right now. They're still weak, but Shield came in swinging hard. So guys, this is my breakdown for this. I'll do one video with this strategy. I'm not going to make like 15 videos, like one for Avengers, one for Guardians. and one. No, I'm just gonna do a one shield video so you guys can see. I'll use 2 characters with kind of the same strategy. One optimized character, one like Valkyrie, who's like, oh my god, why Valkyrie? But yeah, exactly, why Valkyrie? I pick on that character so much, but again, it's yeah. All right, guys. So anyway, I hope this video will help you choose justice for your next game, and you can see the shield strategy in action, and be like amazed and amaze your friends. Like, hey, I have the power of the government on my side. So hope this strategy will help you beat the game. See you soon.